Right, folks, welcome back to this flight with Eastern Air. We've just set up our flight plan. We are going up to Wick, which was an airport that was on the route for Eastern Air, but it was through Aberdeen. But like I mentioned, we'll be doing a couple of flights out of Aberdeen, but I don't want to get it too repetitive, so we will go to Wick. We will finish in Aberdeen because it was their major port, so we'll try and do as many flights as we can that have got a decent distance and not too much backtracking. But yeah, we'll head up to Wick, which was a route that was flown between Aberdeen, from Aberdeen with the I think Eastern predominantly used their Jetstream 41s for that flight, with occasional ATR going from memory. So yeah, we'll head on up to Wick, and then from there, I haven't decided where we'll go, but we'll try and keep the flights sort of reasonably, you know, sort of longish distances. There are a few options there, but anyway, we'll get into this flight and yeah, head on up to a town that has basically lost their air service. No longer any flights operate out of Wick, so this was the only airline that operated there, that has operated there in recent years. Right, we'll get this flight plan loaded up. What we will do is we'll go to data. We'll just go through this init page again, set that, return, flight plan, route, G, where is G? It's hidden behind the parking brake. EG NJ slash EGPC for Wick. Execute, and we'll just load up our request flight clearance. We're just going to be, there isn't any star for this SID for this airport, so it's just going to be vectoring. And just scroll this up to, what is our altitude? 22,000 feet. Sweet, we've got that. Our flight level sorted. We'll now go into here. We'll select runway 2. It was 20, wasn't it? Yeah, 20. Of course, there's no SIDs for this airport, so we'll just leave it as it is. We will go ahead and enter in our flight plan. So from Humberside, we're going to go direct to use car. So use car to here. Then from there, we're going to error kit. Plop that into there, execute that, because we're going to now use some airwave. So airwave N10 to Uptal, and then from Uptal we're going to take another airwave UP18 to Oslo. So where's Oslo? Up here. Then another airwave is going to be P18 to ADN, and then we're going to be taking another airwave Y904, which is going to be our last waypoint to Smoky. Execute. So we'll just leave it as that. Return. Go back to the data, go to init, go to our performance page, confirm our cruising altitude, go to weights. Now we're going to enter in our fuel in this very easy to use format. Block fuel is going to be 23 tons, so just drag that up a bit more. Yeah, that's going to be fine. We'll just give ourselves a little bit less weight, so we're just going to go to our payload. Oh, what have I done? So we've just done our fuel, which just to confirm, oh yeah, it's 23 knot. Yep, that's fine. Now we scroll down to our payload and we'll drag it so it matches roughly our estimated takeoff weight at 21. That's, I might just try the scroll button. And I might just take away sweet, that's pretty much, I'll take, no, that's perfect. So I like the ability just to like adjust the weight so easy in this user interface. So we've got 230 tons of fuel, and our zero fuel weight is going to be 21,231 minus 2,300 gives us 18,931. 18,931. Moment of truth, that matches up, that's perfect. Alright, we'll go to our performance page and we'll just update this to match the UK, so 5,000. Next page, 5,000 again. I think it might be 6,000, but that's fine. ATC will give us the correct trans altitude. Oh, it's going to be a very, very windy day up here in Wick, which is, goes without saying, it is Wick after all. It's the top of Scotland. And yeah, there you go. It does have gusting up there, so 360/22 knots, gusting up to 32, so we'll be right at the limit for this aircraft. But we will have a nice little challenge. Alright, I think we're ready to get going, so just going to clear that. We're going to come into here and just close up the doors. I believe the prop brake is still active, so we are just going to start the prop. I think we've got to turn off the fuel tank. Thankfully the it hasn't run out of battery. Alright, we've got that power generating. We can now disengage the make sure it goes into the green before you disengage the ground power, otherwise it's going to go dark very quickly. Get rid of all of those, put on the parking brake, get our clearance for taxi, I guess. We'll turn on our beacon light now, we're ready to get going. We'll turn on our pro, so get this turned on, ready to go. TRU. we'll get engine number 1 started. Get the fuel into here. We can release the prop brake now, so push that little hydraulic button, remove the little guard, turn off the prop brake. And that's our engines all turned on. We'll get our taxi lights on. We're just going to get going, can turn that right around, and we can spool up the engines, going through this checklist quickly. Get those engines spooled up so we can get rid of all of these warning lights. Oh, before we can do that, of course, we'll switch those to auto. Now we can spool up the engines. Now we can do flaps 15. Now we can go into here and just reset the fuel, confirm takeoff data, so 1.0 up. Just one more little notch, that's done. Zoom in a little bit on my map. Now we can basically head on out to our runway. Just click on this takeoff config button, so nothing's come up, so that means we're pretty good. Request taxi. And there is a little Eastern aircraft parked up here, which is good to see. Oh, and we will flick this over to FM setting, and we'll do the I'll just turn off the flight director just to reset it, turn it back on again, and I'm just going to go heading, nav, I indicated airspeed and VNAV, so that's all set. And we don't go around down that taxiway because it looks like it's not closed, but it doesn't look that safe to use, so I'll just use this one. Strobes and landing lights can all come on. And we just come down here and backtrack just a little bit. We'll remove the gust lock. Ready for departure. And I did some reading just then, and this airport is still in use, and it is KLM that flies the E-jets, the E175s, which is pretty surprising, but I'm guessing there must be a little bit of industry around here to justify it. Just spinning around here. Right, I think we are ready to depart, so I'll just make sure everything's all set. Everything looks pretty good up there. Nothing that seems out of the ordinary. I'll just push this go around button for a change. Right. Set our speed to our what would be our, we'll just minimize these, set our speed to what would be our cruise set notch in the Airbus, and away we go, folks, up to Wick where the sun shines 24/7 in the summertime when it's clear blue skies, which, being Scotland and all, is not exactly every single day of the year. Right, landing gear up. I'm just going to go to autopilot. Just enjoy some of the view as we're cruising on out of Humberside. Alright, I'm gonna go flaps up, I guess. Oh. Had a little bit of a one of those weird moments, but it seems to be working properly now. Alright, flaps are up, we'll go into cruise mode. Hear those engines power down, we're just going to clear that. Just going to turn off the landing lights, get everything all set up for our cruise. We're just going to rush through this little bit. And we'll just get a nice view over the countryside like so, and we'll just enjoy our flight on up to Wick, where it's supposedly going to be gusting like anything up there. And for us, I'll just let you guys enjoy the flight, and we'll see you very shortly. Alright folks, we're coming up to the nitty gritty bit. It's actually good to see that the I did say that the weather radar seemed to be not working as it should, but it looks like it's picking up all of that. Looks like that icky weather out there, and we've been given our QNH, and we've also been given our clearance for our arrival. So we're just going to set our QNH, and we're just going to, once that gets within 5 nautical miles, we'll start winding down the clock to 1800 feet is what they've given us. So we're just going to wind that all the way down to 1800 feet to begin with, and we're just going to click the VNAV button to get the VNAV path going. We're just going to clear all of these because I've set the what do you call it, our go around altitude. I'm just going to change the arrivals. We're going to use this whatchamacallit, instead of being direct on, I'm just going to go to this this waypoint here, and I have no idea which is the parking. I'm guessing it's going to be in the same area, so we'll just go with that. And yeah, we're just going to start our descent down into this gloomy looking weather, but it looks like the rain's actually disappeared off the screen. But I do reckon we should turn on all of our anti-icing gear and prepare for what could be a very stormy arrival into Wick. Look at that, going into this big puff of cloud here. Be very interesting to see how bad this weather is in here in Wick. Alright, we're going to turn on our landing lights now, just get everything all prepared. Taxi lights can come on, turn on the logo light back on. It looks like the ceiling isn't too bad down there. It looks like we'll break. Actually, I won't speak too soon. No, mind you, that's ocean, so we're pretty good. And once we get onto our arrival, which is going to be this RMP approach onto runway 31, we are going to scroll down our altitude down to our landing elevation, which is, as I mentioned, it's our little workaround for our RMP RNAV approaches, as you might have seen in a few videos, like a 330 driver. He just clicks on approach mode and that's how you do it, but it seems to create a bug where you get this thing that this V path that gets stuck there. So we're basically on our final approach, so we're going to just select our airport altitude, which is 100 feet. We're going to peel that speed right back because we are going pretty fast. Decrease the sim rate. And let's see if we can do this legitimately, or whether we have to go below our minimums, or we should maybe just use this as an opportunity to try and set up for a alternative airport. but we'll see how bad it actually is. It's unfortunate that the weather's not the greatest, because it would have been quite cool flying into Wick Airport. I do believe it's a sort of a scenic airport. Alright, we're on track for our, we've given our clearance for our track for our landing into Wick. Just going to peel back the speed just a touch. Everything is looking pretty normal as we break through a bit of a clear patch in the sky. Right, oh, I thought we had visual for our airport there, but it looks like that cloud packed up through. Right, I'm just going to go gear, get the first stage of flaps down, set this to takeoff, go for it and tick off our list approach. We've done all of that. Set that to full. What other clearance have we got? Have we got any other updates? No, it looks like we're all set. Right, this is definitely putting the ATR to its low visibility landing and RMP approach. Let's clear that message. Right, we're just going to peel back our speed just a touch now, get that speed down, and we'll get that last notch of flaps out. Right, that's our speed below the last stage of flaps. And it's just a case of keeping an eye out for our landing lights as we fly over the very marginal weather into Wick. We're not getting any weather on this, so I'm just going to go to terrain radar. I might go back to our weather radar, even though it's not showing much weather on the weather radar map. Unless it's not heavy enough to show it in real life. But yeah, we're coming into some steep hills around the Wick area. Around the coastline, there's some pretty cool, dramatic, steep cliff faces. But it looks like we have just got some visual on our runway there, so that should be just enough for us. We're going to keep this RMP armed as long as possible, just in case another fixed spell of... Actually, we can just take control now, so we'll just disengage the yaw dampener. Yeah, I dare say that would be snowing and very cold out there. Just keep that speed up just a touch.
500. Minimum. Minimum.
Get out, dive down to the runway.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And touchdown. It wasn't too bad of a landing. It was a little bit on the harder side, but we've made it nonetheless. On a very gloomy, cold winter's morning here in good old Wick. And we do have to backtrack at this airport, so we'll go ahead and do that. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Right, we'll set that gust lock now before the winds wreck it. We'll take these back. I think because it's so cold, we're going to keep our anti-ice all on. Landing lights can now come off. Flaps can now come up. And we'll turn off our weather radar. Our flight directors can come off as well. We should have turned that off when we were coming into land, and we will now taxi on to our gate. And we'll feather engine number 1. Right, and we will go ahead and shut down engine number 1 completely, and we'll just turn off the fuel pump while we're here. And we will take, by the looks of it, yeah, we'll take this taxiway here. Taxi lights and strobe lights can come off. We're using a bit of differential braking just to try and help us a little bit. Just because it's it is a little more difficult to maneuver with just the one engine going. And I think we pull into here. And I believe this, for aircraft like this, I think this taxiway is just basically one way in, one way out, whatever that may be. I don't think there's actually an actual stand to properly park on. I think it's just parking like this, I do believe. Alright, we'll just park on here, we'll just stop there. Brake now come on, and we will go ahead and feather this engine, and we'll activate the prop brake for this. Close the guard. Turn off the seatbelt signs now, get rid of the beacon light, and we'll just, for this flight, we're just going to keep it in hotel mode, so we're just going to keep that engine running, but not running, if you know what I mean, and we'll do a, I'll just end the flight there. So here we are, landed at Wick, and we'll do a return flight. We'll head on somewhere else. We'll end it there, and we'll get back to you very shortly.